right, we're live.
Hi everyone. How's
Hello.
everybody doing?
Yeah, let's wait for a few people to join.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Hello everybody.
Welcome to another session for both scholarship track and intern makers.
Mm-hmm. We're so excited to be here with you all.
Hey, Gabriele.
Hi Gabriele. Thank you for being here and your support. Nice, from Puerto Rico. Lemuel. Hi Lemuel. Actually, yes, everybody, please let us know where you're watching from.
Yeah,
Um,
please. Yeah,
please
please
put
comment. Yeah.
nice,
Even
nice.
yeah, even if you're in the US, like tell us like from which state.
Yeah.
Yes, tell us from which state, which country.
Argentina. Wow, this is diverse.
Nice. Yeah. I love seeing my fellow Latinx people. So happy to see you here. Um, how's everybody's day doing?
Hey, Dylan.
Hi, Dylan. It's always great to see you, Dylan. So yeah, keep commenting where are you watching from? And also
Yeah.
comment what do you want to take away from this event so that we can also tailor it to what you guys want.
Texas, Miami,
From
Orlando.
Texas.
Nice.
Nice.
We're also in Texas.
Hello.
Marina and I.
We're in Texas. We're in
Anybody
El
from
Paso,
New York?
Texas.
El Paso represent.
Hello, India. Hello from India. Hi.
Hey, hello.
Hi. It's very late in India right now, right? So
Yeah.
thank you for watching.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you
Yes.
for tuning in.
10:30
It's in your
p.m.
Saturday night. You could be doing anything in Saturday morning, Saturday night, Saturday evening, and you're here. So thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I see.
All,
Vegas.
all right. So, do you guys want to get started?
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Mhm.
Cool. All right. So yeah, again, welcome everyone to this awesome event. We are super excited about this one because there are so many career fairs coming, so many, and we're sure that this talk is going to be super helpful for all of you. So yeah, this is a joint effort from Scholarship Trap and Intermakers to bring you like the best information about career fairs virtually. And yeah, well, quick intro.
Before we actually start, so let's introduce ourselves. My
Yeah.
name is Mariana Briones. I graduated from the University of Texas at El Paso this past May. And a fun fact is today is my virtual graduation, but I still don't know at what time because I just kind of forgot about it. And I started working full time at Microsoft about 3 weeks ago. And I am a program manager there now and also co-founder of Intermaker. So if anything that I can help you with along that you wish to know, let me know. And yeah, I'll be here.
Mhm.
My name is Alejandro. I'm from I was born and raised in Mexico, but I went to school in El Paso, Texas, in UTEP. Majored in computer science, and I graduated like a year and a half ago. I've been working as a software engineer at Palantir Technologies. It's a software company from Silicon Valley, and it's been great. So yeah, if you have any questions about coding in interviews, or anything related to that, just let me know.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sakshi. I'm originally from India, but I'm studying in New York. I'm studying computer science and business. And yeah, I started scholarship track after getting Google scholarship and Grace Hopper scholarship and all of those. So if you have any questions about scholarships or any resources related to any opportunities, any internships, anything, so we keep posting one of these every day. So reach out to me if you need help with your application, for, or maybe a personal statement or anything.
Awesome.
Let's do it then. So first of all, we will want to show you all an overview of what you're going to get today. And you probably saw it on LinkedIn that we talked a little bit about it, but we're going to be talking about how to make a plan before you actually go to a career fair / conference, how you can network during the conference and even during, before, and post conference. And most importantly, something that I think is huge here is elevator pitches. Oh my God, these are key in everything. And right now, I mean, we're all going virtual, so we have to talk about the virtual experiences. And the three of us have already attended to a couple of online conferences. So we've kind of been able to get some insights that we want to share with you in what strategies we would use. So let's go ahead and start.
Okay. Yeah, making a plan is super, super, super important. I have attended so many conferences in the past, and like making a plan is too important because the first conference I attended, like I had no idea what to do. The second one, since I had like a vague idea of what a plan was, I actually got 6 interviews before the conference even started. So that's something you can do as well, and you can get if you make a plan. So the first thing you have to do is to find a list of all the companies that are actually attending. Then once you know those, you have to like do some actual research about them. You have to like find out like about their products, about like what they do, where they're located, like their headquarters, all of those things. Like what's their mission? You have to learn about them. You have to figure out if you actually want to talk with them or not. And you can actually start making your list smaller and smaller depending on the ones, well, like based on the ones that you're lacking more. Then, of course, in that conference or career fair, you have to find the events, all the events that those companies are hosting. That way, you can attend to everything they have in there. If they're hosting 10 sessions, go to those 10 sessions. Make sure that they see you every single time, that they don't forget your face, that they dream about you, you know? That's bad. that way, yeah, that way when you reach out to them, they will know who you are, like for sure. So
by the way, has anyone ever done that before? Has anyone ever gone to all the events and made sure that they don't forget your face? Comment below so that we can relate to you all, because I personally, when I go to these events, I always make sure to go and talk to all the recruiters so that they all remember who I am. And this is crucial because remember this, like there's so many other candidates. What, like you have to find a way that they remember you, right?
Yeah, so I found this tip somewhere on a shady Reddit forum. I'm sorry. So what people did was they wore a very bright colored shirt and something like that, so they stood out in the crowd. So imagine a bunch of people walking in gray and white, and then there's someone coming in bright red, and all eyes across that person. So that is one thing they did to stand out. Of course, you cannot do that virtually. But what you can do is usually in these conferences, you have a chat on the side or a poll or something like that. So there's a discussion going on always during these conferences. So if they are using platforms like Hopin or something like that, they have a live chat going on. What you can do is you can always introduce yourself in the live chat. So when they go back and look at the transcript of the chat, they know your name is there, they know what you're doing, and you can probably post your LinkedIn profile. So if they ever want to refer to you, so sort of like an elevator pitch, but don't make it that long because this is a text. Nobody wants to read through an entire text, but maybe like 2-3 lines, and just post that in every booth or whatever you join.
Mm-hmm. We will explain more. We will explain more as to what Sakshi said on the virtual experiences. But yes, basically, a lot of the times that's where you're gonna have to do it. Now that it's all virtual. So let's go ahead.
So somebody actually wrote this comment: I wear a pink tie with my school logo to career fairs to stand out.
I love that. I would always wear the, so UTEP, my university, it has like a pick, and I remember somebody gave me one, and I would always wear it on my suit, and it was fun. It was very, very fun.
Awesome. Yeah. So basically, after you find out all the different events that these companies are having, then you have to identify, okay, which companies you actually want to talk to. Some of them you might think like, yeah, I mean, it's possible that they don't have any event, so you have to wait until the career fair to talk to them. So you have to identify that so you can make an actual plan during the conference and like before the career fair.
Because so now that we're virtual, it's a little bit different, but hopefully this will not become a permanent thing. And I also want you, all of you, to take away that when you go to these conferences, or even on campus, if they're recruiting in your school, they, in these events, already start giving interviews. So literally, you can have an interview with someone even before you get to the career fair during the conference. So that's why it's so important that you're going to all these events, because trust me, a lot of them even have these things called hospitality suites, which I'm a huge fan of. Right now, I don't think they're going to do them virtually, but hospitality suites, basically what they are is that they invite you to a VIP lounge where you have all the recruiters from one company, and it's invite only. And you get those invite onlys only by going to those events.
Yeah.
So always remember that when we go back to in person, this is something that is very, very crucial for your success in a career fair / conference.
Yeah, definitely. And along those lines, on how to get interviews before the career fair, like submitting your resume to the career fair portal, that's super important. Not every career fair or conference has a portal like this, but many of them request you like your resume, and they say like submit it as soon as possible. And that's true, because like at some set date, they send every single resume they have to all the companies that are attending. So if you submit your resume afterwards, the companies will not receive it. And if the company receive it, they're going to look at everything, and if they're interested in you, they will send you a message and say, "Hey, do you want to interview with us?" That's what I did, and I was able to get those 6 interviews. Sorry, and it's funny because I got so many interviews at conference that when like the career fair, it happened on Saturday. So on Saturday morning, I had like 3 interviews lined up. I just decided not to go to the career fair because I mean my purpose to go there was to get interviews, right? So I already got them. So if you can get them before, that's even better.
Somebody asked, how do we know that what other events they are attending? So I'm assuming, like, how do you know what events they're having or hosting? The way you do it is every single career fair has an agenda, or conference. Go to the website of the conference and look for the agenda, and you'll find every single event that is going to be there. And right now, how you do it is that you register virtually. So you want to do that as soon as possible, because a lot of these do run out of capacity. So just as an FYI, whenever you pay to go to a conference, try to register as soon as possible to the events that you're interested in.
Also, when you submit your resume to the portal, a lot of companies will look at your resume and reach out to you to attend their events. So even though they are info sessions and things like that, they're not directly interviews, but you should attend those, because then they take account of who's actually attending and then reach out to them for potential interviews and things like that. Also, when you upload your resume to the career portal, a lot of the resume databases kind of mess up your formatting. So just make sure before you hit submit that everything is aligned properly. And it usually happens when you submit a PDF, but just a small tip that make sure all the formatting is good. So at the end, when recruiters are looking at it, it's neat and clean.
Yeah, definitely.
So do we want to have a Q&A for this?
Yeah. So we're gonna have like a small Q&A after each section. So please feel free to like write down all the questions you have about what we talked about right now. And if we don't get to your question, please don't
keep asking it.
Like ask it again in the final Q&A, because we're gonna have like different Q&As.
We're going to be having Q&As after every like session. That way we can just get all the fresh questions. Ask anything. This is for you. I already see somebody that asked, how do you find a conference for a company you want to work for?
So usually for that, whatever conferences are there, you go to their sponsors tab and you look at the companies that are attending it, and you will basically just have to find out if the company is in their list or not.
Also, Zoe, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. I apologize if I'm not. What you can do is think about, first of all, could you like mention what you're majoring in or something? A lot of times what I do is I go to the conferences that are related to my major, and most likely I'll find companies that I'm interested in at least one of them. In at least one of them.
Also, you can also go to the individual companies' career pages and see a lot of them post specific applications for these conferences. So make sure you apply to those conference specific listings as well. And that's another way to find out and get interviews.
A more direct way, which might not work every time, but it would be reaching out to a recruiter on LinkedIn and asking directly if they know like what are all the conferences they will be attending to. I mean, you have the risk of them not responding, but it's also another way.
These are great questions. I see another one.
Yeah.
So will the resume get messed up with data filters? Normally, from my experience, it hasn't happened. I know there's some different ways of doing it. I believe there's some that just let you upload it, and there's some that are like kind of like copy paste. When that happens, what I do is I just go back and like tweak it.
Yeah, from my understanding, it's just like uploading a PDF, and the recruiters get the actual PDF. So it doesn't go through an ATS. It doesn't go through a system that checks for keywords. Okay. How soon do you think the resume should be submitted to the portal? As soon as possible. Like if you see that there's an option to do it, then do it.
So
Literally,
adding on
as
to
soon as
that,
possible.
adding on to that, I think a lot of people have the question whether you should submit it immediately and apply to the jobs immediately, or wait until after you've spoken to a recruiter at the fair. I would say apply immediately as soon as you see the job posting. Try and get a referral before applying. If you don't, still apply immediately. And then after you've spoken to a recruiter, maybe you can get their contact information and reach out and say, I have already applied to XYZ position. I met you at the career fair and this is what we spoke about, XYZ. Introduce yourself and then say, I'm interested in this position. But make sure you apply early, because they might reach out to you because you applied early, and there might be a lot of applications until after the conference.
Yeah, there are some conferences like the SHIP conference that they have like their own career center for like the conference. So you can see job applications that are specifically looking for people that are attending the conference. So if you see these positions, then apply as soon as possible, because if you apply early, even if it's like a month early, they will see it and they will tell you, they will like schedule an interview with you.
Yeah.
For when the conference starts.
It's so exciting to see so many questions. So let's see. We have so many. Okay. So we're going to be holding up some specific ones. We're going to be more like general. We'll
so
talk
the ones
about
that are related to the next slides, we'll hold off on them for now.
Yeah. Okay.
So any questions
I think
specific to this?
No, yeah, I think it is like similar to what we spoke before, like what we said. Yeah. I think it's better to just apply earlier.
Okay. So next part comes.
So we're not gonna answer the other ones yet?
I think a lot of them are covered in the slide, and then we'll wait for that.
Okay.
And ATS is applicant tracking system for whoever asked. I think Alan.
Yeah. Correct. Cool. All right. Yeah. Let's get started with networking.
Yeah. So it's important you network with recruiters even before the conference and not just during the conference, because what happens is, like Alejandro said, that he got interviews before the conference. So you want to reach out to recruiters, give your resumes and all, because all of these companies have their interview booths during the conference. So if you want to get an interview scheduled during the conference, make sure you reach out to them before. So one way to find out is all of these recruiters um, post on LinkedIn when they are collecting resumes and collecting applications for the specific conference. So if you're reaching out to them through LinkedIn or via email or anything, first step is to update your LinkedIn profile, because that is what they're going to look at first. And then this I'll elaborate on a bit. So now many of you know that GHC is coming up. So there are these specific hashtags that people are following, like GHC 2020, GHC 20, or Grace Hopper Conference. So make sure you follow all the conference specific hashtags, because these recruiters will be posting any openings or positions or whatever they're collecting resumes for with that hashtag. So as soon as someone posts, you can reach out to them and say you're interested in this and introduce yourself.
Can I add something on that? So
Sure.
for the hashtags, sometimes when I follow them, they don't automatically always show me all the posts.
Yeah.
So every day, go and literally search the hashtag, because maybe you're not getting the updates. And I think this is a huge one, because last year, every recruiter was actually using the hashtags saying, I have interviews, please contact me if you want some. They
Yeah.
were literally there for you to go and grab it, you know? So
I mean, a lot of them post their direct emails also.
exactly. So definitely, I think for me, that's one of the things I would be doing every day right now, looking at the hashtags.
Yeah. And then you send a personalized invite. So every time you see a recruiter posting about XYZ interview at the conference, don't just send a plain connection request. Make sure you're introducing yourself and say something like, hey, I saw your post on this, and I am studying XYZ at XYZ University, and I'm interested in this position. Hope we can connect so I can send in more information on things like that, you know? So if you don't have LinkedIn Premium to send those emails, this is what you can do. You can send a personalized invite, and don't just leave it at that. Like you send them an invite today and then you totally forget about it, because a lot of the times the recruiters will accept your connection request but never reply to you. They will just accept it and check your message and then skip on to whatever they are doing. So make sure you're following up on it every few days. Like, don't send them a message every day asking about your resume, but be reasonable and follow up consistently.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I think
So,
this is the. Do you want me to add into this one?
yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay, so if you meet someone at a conference, make sure that like whatever you spoke with them, that you have notes about it. So that way that whenever you go and follow up with them, you have something to talk about. I think it is very, very important that you write the information. And something that would happen to me a lot when I was in college, and this was a mistake I did, was that when recruiters gave me their information, I never followed up. Oh my God, this is so important. Following up can make a huge difference in your recruiting process. If a recruiter is giving you their contact, it's because they want you to contact them, you know, and they don't ask for your contact because it's just too much, you know, how many students talk to them. So definitely write everything that you spoke with them about. Right now that it's going to be, we're going to discuss a little bit more about how to do it online, because we're thinking there's some different ways to do it depending on the platform. But
Right. And also, I feel,
Yeah, and
yeah, Alan.
oh, go
No,
ahead.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna add to that one real quick, just a quick story on the other side of the job. When like a month ago, I think on the rewriting the code conference, I had a conversation with a student that she was interested in working at Palantir, and I had like this amazing conversation with her, and like she added me on LinkedIn. We talked a little bit like through there, and I decided to give her a referral to refer her to like to the company, and I like just life happened. I just kind of like forgot about it, and after like 2 weeks or so or 3 weeks, she followed up and told me, "Hey, Alejandro, I hope you're doing good. Like, I hope you remember the conversation we had. We talked about this and this and this, and you told me that you would help me with a referral." I was like, "Yes, I completely forgot about it. Thank you so much for reminding me." So that's like the power of following up and writing down like highlights.
Yes. And also, I feel one important reason you should write down these highlights, like, yes, it's important to follow up, but I feel you should also write down the highlights. So when the recruiter is, because the recruiters are not going to share their contact information only with you, there'll be a couple of other students as well. So in order to stand out, even in your follow up, you need to remind them that we spoke about this, so they can immediately connect and they can remember, oh, this is the student, oh, this is the one, and they'll actually be impressed that you remembered particular details of the conversation, and that is one good way to grab their attention and stand out.
Definitely. So next one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so we kind of already did it. Something about the check employee's profile and look for things in common. A lot of times people have an about me section on LinkedIn. I always recommend to go and read that first before reaching out to someone. Therefore, like maybe you have something in common and say, hey, like I was at the conference and spoke with you, but I also saw on your profile that you have this, and I just want to tell you that I'm a huge fan of this as well, or I love doing this, blah, blah, blah. It just helps you create a better relationship. Should we go to the Q&A for this now?
Yeah, I just want to add one point to this.
Yeah.
So one other thing that you can do is you can go to LinkedIn and look for your school alumni and look for a particular company that you're interested in. You'll see a list of people who went to your school and are employed at that company. You can probably reach out and make a connection that way. Hey, we went to the same school and this and that. And maybe if you could provide me a referral, or maybe if your school has an alumni department, ask them to put you in touch with them. So that's just a general tip. And apart from the about section, you can also check out what other experiences they have. It could be you probably volunteered for the same organization at some point, and other minute details that you might miss out when you don't check their profile.
Very true. So we're opening up this section for Q&A now.
Yeah.
Send out your questions regarding this topic. We'll try to get to as many as possible.
Yeah.
At the end of this event, remember we're going to do a general Q&A as well. So if we don't get to your answer, just hold on to them. I think somebody asked already a couple of questions. Somebody said, how do you...
Okay, this is a good one. How can we maintain or improve the connection with a company or recruiter or referrer after the career fair or networking event? So this goes along the lines of something that we said before, or like following up. There's this rule that we learned about. I don't know if you remember, Mariana, like the threes. So follow up every 3 weeks, every 3 months.
No, first is 3 days. Then
3 days.
3 weeks.
My bad.
Then 3 months.
Yeah, I was gonna say 3 years. No, that's too long. Yeah, 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months. So that's like a good guideline you could follow. But yeah, it's definitely important to follow up. And even if they are just not responding, I mean, you don't lose anything. The other thing you could do is just like try every 2 weeks.
Also, yeah, another point. We'll be sharing a template later on networking with recruiters, and also maybe if you want to send an invite, so we'll share a template for that. Then how to follow up after the event, because everything is virtual, so I feel these templates will be relatable. You can just plug in your information and send the template after modifying a bit. So we'll discuss more on that later at the end of the session. So yeah.
So there's this question that I just saw that somebody said. It's from Aaron Zambrano, and it says, so maybe some have a similar experience, but how do you balance trying to network, applying, reaching out, updating resumes while taking courses? There's been countless late nights trying to prepare. Well, maybe this is not your traditional advice, but honestly, I personally always prioritized this over school, just because on like I know this is not like maybe the best
Same.
advice, but I do, because at the end of the day, your GPA is already set for this semester, for this recruiting, right? For this recruiting season. And at the end of the day, you might have a very good GPA, but if you don't get the experience, it's going to be very hard to get a full-time job offer. And it sucks. It really does suck, because a lot of people don't tell us that. I would say to just like Alejandro, can you click on the question so that people like see it, please?
Yeah, I just took it out because it was
too big.
like,
Oh, okay.
in front of your face. But
It doesn't matter. So what I would say is like be smart. What I would do is I would probably divide like my week, like I don't know, give some hours for schoolwork and then some hours for this. I know it sounds very intense, but once you have your resume done, I don't think it takes that much time to just like I personally, what I do is I spend like 10 minutes a day on LinkedIn, just like scrolling and scrolling and scrolling in the morning and in the evening. And that's all I need. That's how I would find opportunities. So just be strategic with your time.
yeah, I would say planning is your best friend. Do that. I remember a semester I was taking like 5 or 6 classes, and then I applied to over 60 internships. So every week I had interviews every single week. So it was very, very difficult. But yeah, like planning is your best friend. Like try to have everything set. If you can see it, that's super helpful, because you kind of like visualize it a lot better.
I also want to add like
Yeah, go for it.
some different kind of a tip, like a little of the beat. So sometimes I know you will plan everything down, write everything down, but in between, if you're just beat and you need to take a break, do take it. If you have to go
Mhm.
sleep for half an hour, go and sleep, because when you wake up, you'll be even more fresh to do whatever you had to do, and probably do it at 2x the speed. So it's okay if in between you're just tired and you want to take a break, you want to take a day off. Nothing is going to lag, because what will happen if you're tired and you're still doing the work, it's not really effective, it's not going in your brain or whatever the task is. So I would suggest just take a break, and I don't mean by take it every day, I mean when you're really really tired.
Mm-hmm. I believe there's another question.
Yeah, I'm trying to find.
Let's try to go in order, because yeah, I don't know what's happening.
If you see a good one, let me know and we can just put it in there.
Yeah, I feel like, okay, let me
Sure.
organize my mind. Okay,
So
so
yeah, one says, does
somebody,
our resume, I'm sorry, can I
go
take
ahead.
that?
Yeah,
Does
go
our
ahead.
resume have to pass the ATS test when we upload it to the
Uh,
database?
yes, I think we kind of like talk about that one. So at least from my experience, uploading my resume a few times for different conferences, none of the times, like it doesn't really go through ATS. They're not looking for keywords, because this is something very general. It's not specific to a company. It's general for many different companies. So they just share the PDF, like as is, with the recruiters or the companies. So yeah, don't worry about ATS.
Mhm.
Somebody said, um, do you suggest signing up for LinkedIn Premium before we go to any conference/career fairs?
I think so. I mean, I think LinkedIn Premium is very worth it if you're going to be sending a lot of messages. Like it gets you in the front door, you could say, to recruiters or to like any other person. But yeah, I mean, it would be like if you can afford it, then I think go for it.
Somebody else asked, what should you talk about in the following up email in order to impress them and strengthen the relationship? So if you've seen other workshops that we've been in, I always say this, and probably a lot of people already know it, what I'm going to say, but I always recommend that whenever you're trying to build a relationship, it's a two-way side, right? It's both parties giving value to each other. And the way that you would give value to a recruiter is easier than you think. A lot of times we're like, well, I'm a student. Like, what value can I give to recruiters? Well, first of all, if you're in any organizations, you can offer to share any information that they have with your community. If you can offer that, if they ever go to your campus, that you'd be happy to help them out in any way you can. It's just sometimes just offering your time and help whenever they may need it, and letting them know that you are willing to help them. I think this helps you really stand out and build that relationship.
Someone has asked, you've mentioned how we should work with an updated LinkedIn profile, and what are some points we can make a note of? I think that's a good question. So yeah, I think LinkedIn asks you to complete all sections of the profile, and then it marks it as an all-star profile. So yeah, that is definitely important, but make sure you're not cluttering it to make it all-star, especially in the summary. See, it's treated like an essay. When you're reading an essay, you want the first few lines to be really really interesting so that you continue reading. So don't make it super long, but cover all the relevant points in the summary. And then comes the experiences and all of that. So I see a lot of times people put on they're working at Google, they're working at Microsoft, when all they're doing is not all they're doing, but for leading a specific club or being an ambassador for one of these companies or gaining a scholarship or for attending an event. And recruiters know this. Recruiters know what that means, and that actually creates a negative impression when they see that. Yes, of course, your profile might show up for them when they're looking for someone who's worked at Google or maybe someone who's worked at Microsoft, but it really creates a negative impression when they go and they look at your profile. So I would say keep it transparent. There's a lot of sections where you can put the relevant information, like honors and awards for whatever awards you've received, scholarships you've received, or things like that. And then there's volunteering section, there's an experience section. So don't overpopulate it. Don't write something from 5 years ago. Keep it latest, probably from, I think, last 3 years. What do you guys think? I think that's relevant. Or 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, anything that, like, any experience that is relevant,
Yeah, anything
just
that's
put it there.
relevant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you worked, if you had like a work that is completely unrelated to what you're looking for, and you had that like 5 years ago, then I mean, it may not be as relevant to add it there. If that's
Yeah.
like the only experience that you have, then yeah, for sure. I mean, put it there. Like, it's important. Those kind of jobs teach you like many soft skills.
What I
So,
mean,
yeah. So if it's, yeah, I think as you mentioned, like actually like 3 years, it's a good, um, it's a good way of following it.
yeah. What I just mean is don't put something from middle school.
Yes. Yeah, it's a good tip. Also, like, real quick, like on the summary for LinkedIn, you can use emojis if you want to like separate and like have your summary like really looking really nice, or I don't know, present it like a little bit better. You can. Cool. All right. What?
So somebody else said, I started training for interviews too late and I'm slow with lead code mediums. Do you think this will hurt me?
Okay. Okay. All right. So you're slow with lead code mediums. I mean, to be completely honest, there are many companies, and I have seen this, many companies that interview with lead code easy. A lot of them. You would be surprised. So don't
stress too
be
much.
exactly. Don't stress too much. I mean, the important thing is that you try and you do your best and practice as much as possible. If you're stuck in medium, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, like, you'll find something. You would be surprised.
And if you know which company you're interviewing for, you can probably go to the discuss. If you don't have Lead Code Premium, that's fine. You can go to discuss, search for the company name, and you'll see a ton of posts over there listing either a compilation of all the questions asked by that company, or separate posts about the questions they've been asked. So make sure you do all of them before you go. The chances are your question might be something similar or a little variation of those, if not the same. So I think that's that gives you a good idea on what kind of questions or what topics the company usually asks on.
Yeah.
Definitely. So two people want to know, and I think this should be the last question because we have to move on to the next topic.
Yeah.
They say, do they take complete interviews at Career First? Like how long time you get at a company? Can you select the question, please, Alex?
I'm
By
looking for it.
Pooja. By Pooja.
It's underneath
Towards the end.
Maria E. Ortiz.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I'm
I
trying to
think
understand.
we're also going to be touching on the subject of interviews for virtual career fairs, like in the last section. I think we can
Okay,
talk
yeah,
about a little bit
that's a
about
really
this
good
one
idea.
there. We can give you like a better answer.
Sure.
Okay,
Okay,
cool.
let's go to the next slide then.
Ooh, exciting one.
Ooh.
So yeah, the elevator pitch is super important. For those that don't know what an elevator pitch is, it's basically like a quick intro about yourself. You're selling yourself in 30 or 60 seconds. You have to say everything you want, and the goal for that like quick conversation. A really really funny story, not that funny for me, but I went to a conference and I was in the actual elevator, and the CEO of the conference organizing like everything, like the CEO of the organization came in, and I knew who she was, but it was like my first conference. I just had no idea what to say, so I just say hi, and I just and she asked me like how I was doing and everything. I was like, yeah, good, but I was so scared. So that's when you have to use your elevator pitch and say something better.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So let's continue then.
Okay, so the first things you have to say are, of course, your name, your school, your major, your graduation year. Um, it's important to say these things because it's possible that a company is not looking for sophomores or is not looking for freshmen, or it's possible that they're only looking for freshmen or sophomores. So if you say this information, it's going to be super helpful. Also, some companies, like let's say you talk to a recruiter and this recruiter went to some specific college. It's possible that you went to the same college. So yeah, that's why also you have to say that information.
Yeah. And also, a lot of companies have different programs for freshmen and sophomores, different for juniors. And then if you're a senior, you're looking for full time. So a lot of companies have separate internships as well as full time positions for and applications for these. So it definitely makes sense, because what could happen is you can start with all your elevator pitch, finish it off, and then when the recruiter asks you, when are you graduating, and then they realize, okay, this is the wrong recruiting line. They need you to connect with a different recruiter that's for the specific program, the specific internship. So that's, you're wasting both your time and their time. So it's good to say it in the beginning itself.
Cool. All right. Experience. So this is super important because this is the part where you actually tell them like, hey, this is what I have done. This is, you kind of like show them like why you're a good fit for them, but based on your previous experiences. So yeah, you have to like keep this short as well. You don't want to talk for like 5 minutes about your experiences, and just keep like the most relevant ones in there. It could be volunteering, it could be a side project, it could be a previous internship, it could be anything, or a school project as well.
Mm-hmm.
The last one is the goal for the conversation. So why are you actually talking to this person? And we say goal here because it depends. Like you can use an elevator pitch. Like in my case, my elevator pitch would be something like for networking. It wouldn't be asking her for a job. So your goal could be telling someone, hey, I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn, or it could be, hey, I would love to talk with you about your company, about your job, or whatever, like right here in the conference. Or it could be you're talking to a person from a company you want to work at, and it could be like, hey, I want to work with your company. I really like your company because X, Y, and Z, something like that. Would you like to, any of you want to add something on this?
Yes. So for me, elevator pitches have changed a lot throughout my college. Um, I would say that something that really helped me was to have a little bit more confidence in I will show you one approach that I take. I like to take the approach of knowing what position I want, and I always read about the position and see all the skills that they need. So I always find a way to tie the skills that they need with the skills that I have and tie it together. For example, I would say, "Hi, my name is Mariana Briones. I graduated from the University of Texas at El Paso. I recently saw that you have this opening in program management, and I wanted to let you know that I have a couple of experiences in program management. I used to work at XYZ, and foremost, I really, really, really resonate with your company's mission. I feel like sometimes even when you throw in something about how you like the company and your elevator pitch and how that relates to you, it can really, 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 really like up you up. So always find how you can tie your your experiences, your values to what they have. That way, it's like, remember that they're always looking for someone that can fit in their company and can do the job. So try to show those two things in your elevator pitch. All conversations go a little bit different. I would recommend you that whenever you say hi to a recruiter, try to have like a casual conversation. A lot of people are really formal, and this sometimes kind of like throws the other person off because it seems like you're a robot or something. So just breathe before talking to a recruiter, breathe. And remember, like if you were meeting someone your age, what would you say? You would probably say, "Hey, how are you? Like, how's your day going?" You would also say, like in this case, where are you living at right now? I know that this whole COVID situation has everybody all over the world. Like, where are you? And then go ahead and introduce yourself. You know, it doesn't have to be like, I remember I would be the person who would first give their hand and immediately start like saying, "My name is Mariana, I blah 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 blah," and I would like sometimes even dismiss like a before conversation to that, you know. So don't feel like as soon as you meet a recruiter you have to give your elevator pitch. Try to have like a small like 30-second conversation. And how have you been? Like, how have you talked? How are you a little bit tired with a lot of the people that you've been talking to? Things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Does anybody else want to add something?
No.
Let's open up Q&A for elevator pitch. Please try to be specific to elevator pitches because at the end we're going to be answering more general Q&As. And right now we want to focus only on elevator pitch questions. So go ahead and ask anything that you are wondering, like even tell us like why you feel like you struggle in this. Tell us everything. Ask anything you want to know about elevator pitches.
Also, Mariana mentioned a good point of saying how you feel your values align with theirs. So by that, I don't think we only mean their products and what they offer, their services. What you can also do is go to their company website, look at their culture, look at their values. And most of the companies will have their core values and mission and everything put up on their company website. So see, maybe tie up your experiences of how they align with their values. Maybe a company will say we are one Microsoft or we are one BlackRock and things like that. So you can probably give an example of how you've led a team and you've treated everyone as one, or maybe that's one of your personal values. Or some company will have we value innovators, so give an example of an innovation you made or something like that.
Mm-hmm, definitely agree. So let's start with the first question, which is Harshali. It says, suppose you have 2 to 3 rounds of interview. Is it cool to repeat the same elevator pitch in all the rounds? Shall we rephrase them or modify a bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Alejandro.
I was just gonna say, I mean, this could be different from what Mariana was about to say. I don't know, but from what I have seen, interviewers usually don't have a clue about what you said to the other interviewers or interviewee. Mm-hmm. Yeah, interviewers. So they have like no clue. They just go in and they say, "Oh, I have to talk with this person." They see your resume, and that's it. So if you want to use the same elevator pitch, that's completely fine. It's possible that you want to say something else and you want to adjust it based on your conversation with the previous interviewers. So it's really up to you. You could use the same, or you could improve it if you feel that you need to.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to the next question because we have a lot of them. So, should we end the pitch with a question to the recruiter? I think it depends a lot on how it goes. I would say that, yeah, like how Alejandro mentioned, like what's the goal for your for this pitch? Is it to look for an internship? Is it to look for a full-time job? Um, the way I would end it with a question, these are a couple of ways I would do it. It would be, I saw that you have these internships open. Do you know how the recruiting process is for that? I think that's always a good safety net because you're kind of being a little bit indirect of like, hey, can you give me an interview? Um, and I like to use that one. I also like to use the one about maybe even asking them. I've read a little bit about your organization, and let's say you're someone who's interested in diversity. You can ask, I've also seen that your company does all of this and wanted to ask you what their efforts are to improve diversity and inclusion. And then you'll open up a whole conversation, you know? So it just depends on what you're feeling the vibe like. I don't know if Alejandro and Sakshi want to add something more to this. Nope.
Nope.
All right.
Great answer.
Yeah.
All right.
How long should an elevator pitch be usually? Is it bad if it's a minute or two? What do you all think?
I would personally keep it less than a minute and 15 seconds, probably, because you want some back and forth conversation, not just you talking. That's the way I would perceive it. Normally, they say elevator pitches are 30 seconds. So a minute is already more than 30 seconds, and 2 minutes is way too much in my perspective. I don't know what you all think.
Yeah, I would say, like, think about it like this. You tell something to a recruiter, and you want that person to ask you stuff about the thing you just said. So imagine you say every single thing you did in your internship or in your previous experience. Like, what else is there to ask? You know. So be very, like, say everything at a very high level. Like, okay, I did a project that that was about this. I use like these and these skills, and then I also have done this. I know you're looking for something like this. I don't know. Just keep it short.
Mm-hmm.
Next question. What would you say if you don't have a relevant experience, but you're seeking to get your foot through the door?
I feel relevant experience doesn't only mean having internships.
I
If you've
agree.
done a class project or if you've done a personal project in your summer or free time or anything, even if you volunteered somewhere, all of that is relevant experience.
I definitely agree with that. Perfect.
Yeah, and I mean, like, even if it's something that you think might not be that relevant, even like let's say you have not done any school projects, let's say you have not done any internships, but you have done some other kind of work. Think about the skills that you found or that you got in that experience, and think how you could use those skills, even if it's just soft skills. Think how you could use those skills into this job that you're applying to, and mention those, because I get that's something that you have that you could use to your advantage.
Definitely. Next question. Could you give some examples of good conversation starters? Oh yeah, I could give you some. I like this. So normally I always like to start my conversations like, hi, like how have you been? Where are you currently located at? That's one. And then when they tell me where they're located at, there's always we all have like a little bit of general information about places. So if let's say they tell you, oh well, I'm currently in California. What's going on in California right now? Well, right now they have all these wildfires. You know, if they're telling you that they're in New York, think about like what you like about New York, but what you've heard about New York. There are some very easy ways to break the ice. Also, like another conversation starter that I really like to have is just saying, hey, like I know you've had a lot of conversations with everybody, so thank you so much for. I always like to thank them for their time because not everybody does that, and that shows that you care about their time, and I think it opens up a lot of conversations. So just like saying, starting off with that, hey, I know you've been having a lot of conversations and that you must be very tired, so I will try to make this very light-weighted on both of us, and just like start it. You can, and use your hands a lot. Body language says more than you think. um, your hands help a lot. Another thing that I like to say is hi. I even say hi. I think it's so cool that you're actually working for this company, and even say I'm a huge fan of what all of you do, and they're gonna ask you, well, why? Like why? Like you're already intriguing them. All of these questions are just like icebreakers. So I always like to start conversations up with a little more happy energy, before starting my introduction. So anybody else want to add something?
Yeah, I mean, you can also use the pandemic to your advantage. Like everyone's going through the same stuff you're going through. So something as simple as saying oh, there's a very thin line between school and my personal life. Like I find myself using my computer all day long. Right? Do you feel the same way with your job? Also, like it's very possible that they're gonna say like yes, or just ask how they're doing with the pandemic. Stuff like that. Just try to find something in common that you can use. Okay. Cool. Okay, being an introvert, it becomes difficult for me to start the conversation and keep it going. What to do?
Can I answer that?
Go for it.
So I was an extreme introvert. I'm still at some points. So I would say what helps is smiling. So don't show them you're nervous. Even though you're nervous, don't show it to them. So it's okay if you don't start the conversation, because usually they start the conversations themselves also. Most of the time they'll just start by asking, how are you? Even if you don't ask them that. So don't show them that you're nervous. Start smiling. And then whatever they ask, you can probably come up with questions related to that, and imagine you're just talking with a friend. And yeah, if nothing, you can use a specific icebreaker every time. Either where are you located, like Mariana mentioned, or something about the weather, which is old school, but
I use it a lot. Like, that's always a safety net.
yeah. So maybe if they are in the West Coast, you're in the East Coast, you can probably say if it's winter time of how the weather is different. And I remember this during the SWE conference last year. It was chilly in New York, and I went to California for the conference, and it was super jump in the weather. So that was like a starting point for a lot of conversations with people I spoke to from Lockheed Martin and all those different recruiters, because they were all based over there in California. So when they told me that, when I asked them where are they from, and this is what they told me, so then we started talking about the weather, and then broke the ice, and then spoke a few more things. So yeah, it just helps. If nothing works, just where are they located helps.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Something that helped me as well, because I'm also an introvert, and when I first started, I just didn't know how to continue conversations. So something very simple could be practicing a lot. Like I know it might sound weird, but like practicing for different interview questions you can get asked and you can ask. That way, if you feel there's like an uncomfortable silence, you can come up with one of those questions like, hey, what do you do at your job? I don't know, something like that. Practice with your mom, practice on the mirror, practice talking to yourself, practice with some friends. I've done that, and it really helps.
Another thing that helped me is mindset. So when you're talking to them, don't think that they're going to remember you particularly and they're going to judge you 10 months down the road, because I know a lot of people are shy to talk because they think the person will judge me, or what will they think of me. I want to be to my best behavior and things like that. Just know that they're talking to hundreds of people. They're not going to remember your name particularly after even a week. So nobody's there to judge you. Everyone is learning. So once you start going with the mindset that you don't care what others think about you, I think that's going to bring a big shift in your attitude and how you're going to talk to a lot of people.
And
Yeah.
I would like to add like one last thing so that we can move on because we're running out of time. I believe somebody asked like, how do you recover when you like blank out? And I think this ties in a little bit. What I would say is remember that they were once in your shoes. Like they had to recruit to be able to get to where they were. And something that happened to me a lot was that when I would freeze, I would say, sorry, I get a little bit nervous, and they would laugh, they would have like a giggle, and then we'd start over. So like don't think too much about it. Like even with your friends, like sometimes you just blank out and you're like, sorry, I apologize, I forgot what I was saying, and you continue. It's not a big deal. Like don't worry about it. It's gonna be fine. So let's go to the last section because it's already past time.
Yeah. Let's try to do this one
let's
quick.
do it. Yeah, let's do it.
So the next slide.
Yeah.
So I think we already kind of went over that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's
These
explain.
are these are more tips tailored towards actual like virtual career fairs. Yeah, you want to get started, Marina?
So what we've learned throughout the career fairs that we've been through is that a lot of times there's like you might be able to find a way where you have a list of all the attendees, and I mean like individuals, and you can actually look up the name. So a lot of times you can literally look up recruiter, and a lot of recruiters are going to show up during the career fair / conference. That's a huge one that we saw, and we definitely think you should take advantage of it. Something I would do is take a screenshot of it, of the recruiters who were there, and go at them afterwards. I would not at them during the conference because that time is conference time, and you want to make the best out of it.
Yeah, what you can also do is just copy all and paste it in a notepad.
Exactly. Definitely. Next one. Okay, speed interviews. Speed interviews are amazing. I don't know if all the career fairs and conferences are going to have this, but it's basically it can be sometimes tabbed as networking. And what happens is you're always going to be paired to a recruiter, and sometimes there's a wait time. So what I would do is I would go into that, and you get paired to a random recruiter of random company. So like if you get someone that you don't know that much about, don't freak out. Just say, hi, how have you been? Can you tell me more, maybe a little bit more about your company? Like I know that we always say like do your research, but in this case it's almost impossible to research all the companies. So like don't be afraid to like say, I have a little bit of information about this. Do you think like just have that icebreaker of saying, oh, so like what do you like about working at your company? That way like you can get like an insight as to what they're saying about that company and have like a better conversation. I think that a lot of times the line is very long, so make sure that you don't refresh it because that will throw you to the back of the line. I highly recommend these because they also have like a time limit, and if the conversation is very good, like they'll probably tell you that to add them on LinkedIn and continue the conversation there. So definitely take advantage of that. I don't know if anybody wants to add more to this specific point.
I think it was perfect.
All right, next point then. Do your best to find a quiet place for when you need to turn your camera on. This is something that is very, very crucial. I think a lot of times you will have workshop events, and what we saw is that all the recruiters said, please, like, let us know if you want to get on camera and speak with us, and nobody would. And when there would be somebody, they would get so happy. So even though it's a little bit embarrassing and you might be shy, just remember that nobody's going to remember who you are. Everybody's like equally as nervous as you. And something that we saw during the virtual conference for rewriting the code is even Alejandro and I, when we were giving our workshop, we would love to have people jump on and have a face-to-face conversation. So whenever recruiters say that, take their word and do it, and turn on your camera. So next point would be Take breaks to walk and stretch and rest your eyes. Definitely, it can be a little bit tedious to be on your laptop 3 or 4 hours straight. So go grab a snack, do whatever you need to do, and continue. And yeah, I think this is what we already went through. And dress professionally, I believe that don't wear your suit, right? But like just like a nice button down shirt, I think would do it just so that you look presentable.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Let's
Very important.
yeah, this is a very important one. Run a test on your tech setup before the event starts. And the reason is because right now, yeah, we I think we all have noticed that technology is not 100% reliable all the time when it has to do with restarting, power, audio, camera issues, everything. Just make sure that you have a good setup because even if you do get like an interview, you most likely will be using it as well.
Mhm.
And yeah. And then lastly, as we mentioned before, use a physical notepad to take notes. It doesn't have to be a physical one. It can also be a virtual one, whatever works easier for you. But just take notes of things that you're learning. You never know when they're going to come in handy.
Mhm.
All right, let's open up for the last Q&A part. Ask anything you want about the whole presentation, and yeah, we'll do our best to answer all of the questions.
Yeah.
This is a good one. If you have names of the recruiters prior to career fair, would you contact them?
Definitely.
If you know that they're going to that conference or career fair, yeah, do it and make sure you do that. That will be perfect.
Mhm.
Mm.
Probably contact them before, tell them that you will attend, and then once you're there, like reach out to them again and say, hey, I'm here. Maybe you can talk in the chat there. I don't know, something like
Maybe
that will be
maybe also ask them if the company is conducting any interviews during
interviews.
the conference and say you'd be interested in having a slot.
Yes.
Definitely. So next question from Alan Jose, because I believe Zoe was explaining something. Since everything is going virtual, can you tell about where to find career fairs / conferences? Can you suggest a few to start to find one? Okay, so something I always like to do is if you're involved in any student organizations in your campus, start there. Because even there, they recommend a lot of conferences as well for your specific major. Um, I could like suggest career fairs and conferences, but I don't know what your major is. So what I would recommend for you to do is look up career fairs / conferences for your major and try to be general. For example, if you're studying something in business, say business conferences. If you're in engineering conferences. If you're in science conferences, and so forth, so forth. Even though you have like a more specific degree or you're majoring in something very specific, you want to go to the ones that are more general. And you can also go to the ones that are very specific. So that's what I would do.
Mhm.
I think we already answered the next one. So let's go to Kathy. Um, thank you for hosting
It's
this. Go ahead, Alex.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that it's like similar to what we just responded, like other conference. So I guess if you know those, you are in tech. So let me just say a few tech conferences. Mention them real quick. There is NSBE, NSBE. There's SWE. There is
Tapia,
SHIP. Tapia, Grace Hopper. There
SHPE,
is SHIP, HINAC. That's another one. Great Minds in STEM. This is the name.
ACM,
Those are
I think.
ACM.
ACM.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a
Um,
few. So yeah, like just as Mariana mentioned, try to do your best to search for them on Google. Like there are so many. Like we cannot, like we don't know many
all
of
of
them.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, good luck, definitely. Yeah.
Does GHC release the list of attendees?
Cool.
Let's see.
So if
Well, to
you're
be
going to
honest,
Tapia, oh, go ahead.
so I think we already went to the other. question, so I apologize. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, if you're going to Tapia, I'm gonna be a speaker there on Wednesday, so you can go check that out. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah. So for somebody said, does Grace Hopper release a list of attendees, recruiters? I do not know. I haven't checked, but it's most likely that they did because they have like a sponsor section. And I also want to tell you that GHC is the biggest conference in computer science. Every single company that you imagine might be there. So just as a, like, I'll just put that out there.
If you're talking about specific people, like recruiter names, I don't think they do that, because I'm pretty sure like some companies don't even know who they're sending. But yeah, I mean, do your best to look into the website if that's what you were asking, if the specific people.
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer is asking, how do you transition between casual conversation and elevator pitch? So after you already kind of asked like how their day is going, all of that, the way I like to transition is by saying, well, it's great to get to know you a little bit more. Let me tell you more about myself, and then I go from there. My name is blah 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 blah. Another way you can transition is saying, I know there's a long wait, so let me introduce myself. Just like don't be afraid to kind of like just transition and saying, oh well, it's nice to see that you're over there. Let me make this shorter for you. So my name is blah blah blah, and go from there. You know, don't think too much about it. Just make the transition smoothly.
Oh, you lost it. Okay, so I guess this is more towards Grace Hopper, but I think it could be applied to all conferences. The advantages or disadvantages of attending only a career fair or the other sessions. I would say like if you have the time to invest in the other sessions, I think it is worth it, because many interviews happen like during these sessions. Many of them. And like in like the regular career fairs, like our conferences, I think like we heard from a recruiter that 70% of interview slots are set, like are filled before the career fair. So that's a lot. Now virtually it might be a little bit different, but still I do think it's worth it. If the money is too much, if that's something that might be a limitation, then just do the career fair. If not, then go for it.
Mm-hmm. I would also say that I remember going to a conference and I had like literally doors opened at 9. By like 9:40, there were some companies that didn't have any more interviews because they gave them all out before. In this case, how Alejandro mentioned, it might be that online is a different case. So just try to be there just in case. You never know. You want to be ready for everything.
Okay, this is a good one. I think mostly like it depends completely on the position you're applying to. If it's a tech position, super technical, super technical, then it might make more sense to focus on your technical skills. But the secret sauce would be using stories that share that you have both. So let's say if you tell them like, yeah, I led a team building a website that did this and this and this, for example, or I led a team building like this, whatever.
I just remembered something very important, Alex. Oh wait, continue, because I don't know if I interrupted you, like your whole explanation. I thought you had finished. I apologize. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So yeah, I mean, if you can have like different stories that can take on both, then yeah, for sure use those. If not, just tailor it to whatever you might need more.
I would like to add that something that we noticed in rewriting the code, there would be some people that would go to info sessions or these workshops, and they would ask very technical questions to the recruiters. I would not recommend for you to do that at all. This is something to please remember. A lot of recruiters are not technical. A lot of recruiters are people who work in HR, and they're just trying to like get the best talent. If you ask them like, what specific software or language do you use at this specific project, blah blah blah, I think it's a really bad question to make, unless it's a technical recruiter, because in Grace Hopper, a lot of engineers go to recruit. So just like to keep it safe, like make sure that you are asked, you know, who your audience is or who you're asking these questions to, because these questions, even though they're very good, they might not be able to give you like a good answer.
Usually when they introduce, they mention that I'm an engineer in XYZ team, or I'm a recruiter for this team. So by that, you should just get a general idea of what they are.
True. We will write the conference names later on when we end this up. That way you can all have it. So somebody else is asking, what kind of relationships should I build with recruiters to keep up with them after?
I think it depends on the goal. So, for example, let's say you talk to a recruiter, you have this great conversation, and you end up going to a different company. You might decide like, hey, I want to keep this relationship because in the future I might want to go to this other company. Now, let's say you're still looking for jobs, and you just want to like build that relationship. Even if you still want to go to that same company, I mean, I would say just trying to reach out, try to hear a little bit about them. I mean, it really depends what kind of relationship you want to get out of them. The friendlier you want to go, like it's really up to you. If it wants to be like more professional, just asking very specific stuff, that's okay. If it's more of a mentorship relationship, it's really up to you. Any of you want to add something on this?
But also test boundaries with them. Don't get too friendly, and you never know. Some recruiters might get offended, some might not. So yeah, just you should get a vibe of what feels safe.
Yeah, if they call you dude on the first message, they'll be like, oh, cool, let's be very friendly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does our resume? Is GHC specifically for CS? From Neeraja.
Actually, no. So it's, or at least from what I know, and maybe like Sakshi, you can add a little bit on that, but it's mostly for tech, just tech in general. I mean,
yeah.
I think it like most people there are like computer science or software engineering, but it's mostly for tech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there won't be as many. Yeah, there won't be as many other opportunities as computer science. Like I know a lot of them recruit for mechanical, for electrical, for UI and UX as well. It's just there won't be as many as there would be for SD. So what I would say is probably before registering for the career fair or the conference, maybe take a look at the sponsors and see if they have positions for your major, and then probably register for the career fair.
Yeah, great tip.
Yeah. Next one. Is it possible that I stand in queue and just don't get a chance to talk? So I feel at the conferences that I've been to physically, everyone got a chance to talk as far as I know. But in the virtual one, what happened with rewriting the code, at least, was that we kind of timed out. And only because the conference was from a specific time to a specific time, but it is possible virtually. We don't know. I'm not sure, at least. I don't know if Alejandro and Mariana have something to say, but I feel that it is possible in the virtual one that you might not get connected.
It's definitely a risk, I believe. So that's why it's very important that you try to see if you can get the list of recruiters once you're there. Like literally just copy paste it, take a screenshot, write it on a notepad. That way, like in case you don't get a possibility, like you can talk about this later on and say, hey, I'm reaching out because I was in line all the time and I was never paired with someone, or I was never able to talk to someone. and go with that. That's what I would do.
Another tip is that I know there are some target companies that everyone would be in line for, but if you're in line for too long, I would suggest like quit the line for a bit. Like if it shows a number that how much is your wait time or anything like that, I would say first finish talking to all the companies that have lesser queues, because what might happen is you might spend up your entire time on waiting in line for a particular company that has a huge line, and you might miss out the chance networking with other companies where you could possibly even land an interview after talking to them. So yeah, try and maximize on the number of companies you talk to.
Yeah, and I don't know how possible this is, and this could affect you, but if
Yeah.
you open different tabs and get online with different companies, you run the risk of like having like two at the same time that like want to talk with you, but you could also do that.
So should we take two more questions? Call it a day.
Yeah.
I think we've gone over time like a lot.
Two
Yeah.
more.
Okay. Shall I expect technical interviews? You may. To be honest, you may. It depends a lot on the recruiting process of companies. There's some companies that have one or two interviews, and there's some that have one, and then later on you have like a super day where you have 4 interviews. So it just depends on what the company is. There's some companies that just have one, and they kind of mix both behavioral and technical. There's some that are just gonna have one behavioral and then all technical later on. So I think just be ready for anything.
Yeah.
What would you do? Well, there's so many questions. Somebody choose one.
Okay, let's do this one. Hello. Considering that Grace Hopper is almost a week long, and for most of the day, when do you signed out of the career fair? How do you stop knowing that you could be doing something to get a job? Well, that's really up to you. I mean, if you want to be there all day long, you could, but also think that that might affect you if you're on the computer for 8 hours straight. By the last interviews, you might be so burned out that you are just not doing really well. If you feel well physically, if you feel healthy and everything, I mean, I would say go for it. It's really up to you. I don't know if any of you want to add something on this. Okay. I see a few questions about ATS. Just going to talk a little bit about this. Yeah. So ATS, it's an applicant tracking system. It's a system used by many organizations and most companies when you apply. They basically take out some specific parts of your resume. They take keywords. They take stuff like that, and they give you a score. And that score is like a filter. So they filter out candidates. In my experience and what I've seen with different conferences, they usually don't use an ATS because they're not really trying to give you a score. There are no really like keywords for this. They just want to get like the resumes and say, hey, we have all of these resumes. Like for example, for Grace Hopper, like most of them are in tech. It could be like what they could be using for ATS could be like taking your name, taking your like your experience, but not getting keywords. Could be just like separating stuff, maybe getting your major from it, so they can send you through like towards a pipeline. But that would be mostly it.
All right. Well, I think that would be it for today.
Yeah.
Hope this helped all of you. Please let us know if it was helpful, and
about
like
the networking template, like we discussed, we'll be sending it individually since it is only for attendees at this point. We discussed, and we would encourage you to post your key points and key takeaways from this session if you really found this helpful. And make sure you tag intern makers and you tag scholarship track, because that's the only way we would know that you posted. And if you just post and if you don't tag us, we won't know that you posted. So once you post your key takeaways, that means more and more people will be able to get those tips, and then we'll send you the networking template. And we are also thinking that we'll combine some of the conference lists in that template as well and send it over.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. It's a great idea. So yeah, thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you.
I hope all of you enjoyed it. I know it was a little bit long, so hopefully you didn't fall asleep.
Yeah.
All right, bye everyone. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.